Okay. Oh, fuck. That's so random.
You're making it look like it's your first time. It's my first time. It's not your first time.
I'm so nervous right now, really.
En español, si quieres. Más fácil para ti.
No. I guess no. Okay, fuck. Actually, my English isn't that good, to be honest. Let's continue in English. I've been always doing that in English. So
okay.
Because I guess there are more people that actually understand English than Spanish, right?
Well, not literally. There's literally more people that understand Spanish. Maybe more people that you know that understand English.
Yeah, because you live in Spain. Ooh, I'm mad.
No, but like, there's more global Spanish speakers. No, it's not. There's native language.
Native. Yeah.
Good point. Yeah, no, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah.
So. Fuck you.
Good sticks. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
No, okay. Maybe for everybody, like, we are right now in Lanquín, in Guatemala. Dope fucking place. Fuck. Like, whoo. Everything cool. I mean, we're talking right now, but if we're not talking, there's silence overall. All the time. Dope. Whoo. And I've been recording the last time something like in Belize or something. So I didn't do anything for the last 2 weeks regarding podcasts. And today, I had a pretty funny conversation. I have Christmas, by the way, today as well.
Oh, yeah. Congratulations. Third time round. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. And I've been talking to my cousin, like explaining this whole podcast thing and blah, blah, blah. And sometimes you cannot force the situation to be cool. Sometimes you're just meeting cool people and sometimes not. The first month I've been recording 23. The second month, like just 3. And yeah, we've been talking about it and I've been thinking about it a little bit more into detail. And what happened? Matt arrived. Yeah.
I'm honored.
And I felt the vibe and was like, come on, like, let's do it. Like this hostel where we are is Vista Verde. Dope, blah, blah. And I've been having a cool conversation with Melissa, the woman that is working here, the reception, and suddenly this guy arrived. Tell me, why?
Well, according to her, it was because this is the place I was meant to be at this time in my life, which I really liked it when she said that. Because I turned up yesterday in this town, Lanquín, and I'd booked the wrong hotel. It was a crap hotel. It's a rubbish hotel. But hey, so I got here late last night. I slept in the hotel. I woke up really early, and I ran to Semuk Champe. Because literally, that's why I've got a big stick, because I'm terrified of dogs. I'm genuinely terrified of them.
I've been thinking because you're old, so
I am. Thanks, very yeah, very good. And so literally out of the gate, I reckon after I'd gone 20 maybe 50 meters, and 2 dogs ran after me, and one of them nipped the back of my leg.
Oh, really?
I was like, "You are kidding! This is going to be like face my fear." Moment. So I carried out. I picked up a stone first, and that was quite good. You can do this with a stone. That seemed to work. And then I got to a bit where there were 5 dogs, like just aggressively at the top of a hill.
Okay.
And I walked closer to them, and they started going crazy and running towards me, and I was absolutely petrified. And I ran back to the nearest house. I got a Guatemalan farmer. Say, listen, I'm really sorry. I want to pass. I can't pass. He's like, will you help me? It's like, yeah, man, just hit them with a stick. I was like, I don't want to do that. That's even scarier. You're saying I have to literally hit them with a stick. Like, I just want to have a run. I don't want to beat up dogs like on the way. So I said, will you come with me? And he came with me.
Yeah, and what did you do?
He walked really calmly. Yeah. And I walked as close as I could to him. And the dogs just like didn't do anything. We walked past, and then he gave me his stick, which is the stick I have now. So I've carried the stick all day, and
so he was literally passing the torch, actually, right?
Yeah, basically, yeah. That's how I feel it. That's how I view it. And then I came across lots more dogs, but I made lots of threatening movements with the stick, and then I was fine. Anyway, so that was most of my day fighting off dogs, and then I had a wonderful day out in this beautiful limestone ponds, which like a river goes underground, maybe 500 meters, and over the top of it is a limestone bridge which forms ponds. You can swim in. You've seen it, I'm sure, but for the benefit of your millions of listeners, your millions of Anglophone listeners.
Let's say like the handful, but okay.
And then so I came back, I walked back, and I went to the caves, and I was pretty tired at that point and hungry. And so I thought, I saw this sign for a hostel on the turn, on the way back into town. So I went down there, and I heard all the birds, and I said, that's really nice. And then I carried on walking to the end of the road to another hostel, I didn't like it at all.
Mhm.
I turned around. I walked back. I heard more birds. And then I came up here. And then I saw you and Melissa. What's her name?
Melissa, yeah. Shout out to Melissa.
Sitting down, looking very comfortable and welcoming. And so I stayed.
Yeah.
And here I am.
Yeah, fair enough, man. Fair enough.
And now we're recording this.
Yeah, and that's so fucking spontaneous, and I love this. I really feel so fucking comfortable, and
it's been quite a turn of events. It's been quite a varied day.
Yeah,
I would say.
Like dogs. Dogs.
Stick.
Dogs.
Lots of dogs. Lots of natural beauty. I had a really nice conversation with some Guatemalans who were talking to a family in the caves. I was terrified also. I'm quite scared, basically. Mm-hmm. In the caves here. You been here? The caves?
To be honest, no. I've been here like for the last 4 days, but I've been just...
Look is nicer.
Yeah?
So anyway, yeah. But anyway, it was just me and this Guatemalan family visiting from somewhere, where Tenango. I don't know where that is. Some province. Who couldn't swim. And we all went in the river. Like, we really want to swim, but we can't swim. Can you get in the river and tell us how deep it is and how fast it is? And I was like, okay, why not? So I got in the water. It's like, okay, like you're okay to here. And then I went to the middle of the river, and it's quite fast flowing, the Lanquín River. So I got in the middle. I was like, okay, like, don't come this far. Thinking, shit, I can't now drown. That would just be embarrassing. So I came back to the side, and then we found a bit where they could swim, and they had a nice swim. That and then here. So it's been a good day.
Maybe it's important to mention that we ate a cake as well with us.
God, yeah, that was brilliant.
Yeah,
that was possibly
a
highlight.
It, like really, I mean, I love
it's a great cake.
Every food in general, but this cake.
What was it made of? I think you should describe it.
6 different fruits,
Bloody hell.
Sugar, no artificial sugar.
You're kidding?
Honey.
Wow.
And whatever. Blah, 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 blah. Doesn't matter. I'm so fucking... No,
did you make it?
No.
She made it.
She made it. Like,
right.
I mean...
You said that very confidently. Well, it's made with like 6 different types of fruits, no sugar.
No, but the main reason why I'm that confident right now is because I trusted my gut, like my gut feelings to do this fucking podcast with you. And you know what I enjoy about you right now so much is when you're talking about things, you're so fucking enthusiastic. Like you're like...
Right.
La, la, la,
good. Well, it's been a fun day. It's easy to be enthusiastic.
No, but for real, like, what do you do? Who are you? Like...
Oh, well, those are 2 different questions, man.
Okay,
don't ever confuse those 2. That's one of my big bugbears. Like, if I were to say, like, before, if I would have said, no, I'll put you up on this. If I would have said a year ago, like, who are you? Would you have answered, I'm an engineer?
No, never.
Nice.
Never. I would never define myself.
Cool.
Good. With, like, I wouldn't. No, I'm not describing myself with a profession.
It's like part of who you are, isn't it? But not the whole deal.
Yeah, exactly, man. That's just a persona, and persona actually means mask. But that's something different.
There's a rich seam down there to explore, isn't there? I'm very excited to hear about your book, by the way.
But we're gonna talk about it later because it's not about me; it's about you, man.
Sorry. Yeah.
Answer the question.
Okay, I'm really good at avoiding questions. What do you want to know?
Okay, who are you?
My name's Matt. I'm from London. I'm 40. I have done lots of things in my life. I'm here in Guatemala visiting a friend who lives in the lake. Mm-hmm. We all used to live together in Haiti. Haiti. I don't know how you say it. Haiti, I understand.
Or just Haiti.
Haiti. So that was very exciting. It's a very intense place, Haiti. And we were all there for like between 2 and 3 years. And one of the girls is still there. And a Haitian girl too came out. And I think when you go to these when you live in these intense places or go through intense experiences, I think traveling can be that too. Mm-hmm. Then you kind of get a lot closer to people than you would if you were just like regularly seeing them as part of day-to-day life or whatever. So it was really amazing for me to see them again, having not seen them for a year. So yeah, I'm pretty happy.
Like, how come? Like, okay, London, I guess you went there to school and maybe you studied something, blah, blah, blah.
Uh-huh.
Just mention like
sure. Well, I mean, okay. So I've lived in lots of different. Okay. So
I mean, it's not going to be forced. It's
fine.
because you're fucking 40. There's like more to talk. Like just not just about university.
That's funny. Okay. So yes. Okay. A potted history of me in the next 2 minutes, which has nothing to do with kind of values or what I believe and all the rest of it. Just the absolute facts. Would that be helpful? Let me
go ahead.
All right. Fine. So grew up in the UK near London. When I was 17 or 18, or July birthday. I left school, obviously, and I went and lived for a year in Cuba, Eastern Cuba.
How old were you?
I was 17.
7?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And so that was in 1997, the end of the special period, if you know much about Cuban history. It's a really tough period, very formative. I lived in university.
Okay,
in the east of
I'm not
Cuba,
going to let you continue. Let's just dig into this topic. Like,
right,
how come we're
English.
fucking 17 to go to Cuba?
English. Well, because I took a year between school and university. It's not that uncommon in the UK. Quite a lot of people do it.
Okay.
Like a gap year.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do it, like kind of travel around, but I wanted to be in one place. That's why I like the fact that you kind of, I wanted to be in one place, really get to know, I didn't speak Spanish either, really get to know it and have a very kind of full-on experience. That's what I wanted. And that's what I got. It was there wasn't internet or phones actually, but I had the occasional fax from my parents. Like, do you know what a fax machine is?
I heard about it.
Okay, fine, yeah, fine. Well, so I got like a Christmas fax. I remember that distinctly.
Fuck man.
So I did that for a year. Then I came back to the UK. I fell in love with Latin America in that year, obviously, and living abroad. And went to uni and then left uni, worked in the private sector for a bit, didn't like it, met a girl, moved to Paris because that's where she lived. Then we moved back to the UK. Then I started working for the government, British government. Then I went to Ethiopia 3 years, Brazil, Rio 4 years, Haiti 2.5 years, and now I'm in Spain. Since 6 months ago.
Is it still connected with the British government? What do you do? So what do you do?
I'm a diplomat.
Diplomat. Huh. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Is that fun. Like, okay, you're the first diplomat that I met in my life. What do diplomats actually do?
Well, there's lots I would say this is probably not going to be the most interesting bit of the conversation. I'll keep it brief.
Sure.
You're basically trying to understand the country in which you're in and explain your own country to that country, and you're trying to explain the country where you're in back to your own country, so that essentially you kind of both sides understand each other. So you're working for your national interest.
So you're maintaining like a bilateral communication, and that's it.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, I don't want to keep it like low. Like
no, let's keep it low. And and there's lots of different angles to that. Could be economics, could be trade, could be people-to-people links, could be students, could be like politics, could be foreign policy, could be domestic policy. Could be culture, loads of stuff. Could be helping like the nationals of your country in that place, or it could be helping people from that place to get visas. There's lots of different things you can do, which is what I find really attractive about it.
And do you have to change the countries, or
yes?
So you have to.
Yeah.
Like, is the limit like 3 years? Or
every
whatever?
3 or 4 years, depends on the place. And you're supposed to go back to the UK, but I've managed to avoid that so far because I don't really want to do that.
Okay, next question. Yeah. Like, family?
Oh yeah, so I got divorced, sadly. Not my choice. And I've got 2 kids, 8 and 6. They are half the time with me, half the time with their mother. She lives in Madrid too, independently. So that's going pretty well, actually, in the scheme of things. I'm really close to them, and it's important to both of us that they see the other one, etc., etc. She's from Colombia, actually, which is why I know about Colombia. From Cartagena, not from Bogota. So life right now is a funny mix of like 1 week single parent, 1 week not with kids. So it's kind of like it's quite a big shift, that like week thing. But it's good. I like it. When I was in Haiti, they were in Dominican Republic, which is on the same island, so that was very tough, like traveling. I mean, I was driving all the time. It's like 7 hours basically. And like difficult, like roadblocks, tough conditions. So now it's much easier. Sounds good.
Fuck, like you told me so much that I don't know where to start. But maybe before that diplomat thing, like this cut in your life that you maybe did, like you didn't like some stuff, and then you just decided to do something else. Like,
that reminds me of you.
More or less.
Yeah.
Maybe that's exactly the thing that I want to talk about.
Yeah. So I remember, I used to work at Deloitte Consulting, right? So private sector consult. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was like, right, I'll just go and work with them. And I did 2.5 years with them, and I was like depressed for most of it. So not depressed, but like not happy at work, if you see what I mean. And like you're earning good money, so you're like, okay, like I should be happy, but I wasn't.
Sure, because it's all about money, right?
Yeah, I mean, I I distinctly remember we had a competition. Like there were 4 of us who were all shit. We were just shit management consultants. We were all arts graduates rather than like engineers or like scientists or people that actually knew what they were doing. I'd never used a computer basically before.
But a fax machine.
I handwrote all my essays at school, at university rather. I handwrote them all because at the exams you're going to have to handwrite anyway, so I just handwrote them.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got to Deloitte Consulting, and the idea was basically fiddling around with PowerPoint slides to make sure the lines align. I was like, what the fuck? How do I do this? So it's like I was so bad at it. And anyway, there were 4 of us who were also pretty awful, and we had a competition in our first year to see who could get the least number of chargeable hours. So the time you're supposed to spend with clients is supposed to be like 80% or so.
Okay.
And the winner, mine was 7%, which I was pleased with. But the winner, this guy Emmett Fitzgerald, won with 3%. So in other words, 3% of the 12 months of his time that he'd been spending working there had been charged to clients. We both left about the same time, actually. Obviously, pretty predictably. Anyway, that was a tangent. I remember, so when I had a conversation, when I was leaving, and I said to the guy who was in charge of me, I'm leaving, thanks very much, like, I'm leaving now. I give him my notice. And he said, what, I'm sorry to hear that. Is there anything I can do to make you stay? Which I thought was a great question, a really good question. I've used it since a lot in different ways. And I said, actually, no, there isn't. Thank you very much. I'm just not very well suited to this.
And
so there's nothing really. So then I left, and we left on good terms. And I'd met this girl who I subsequently married. So then I moved to Paris instead.
Adventurous guy.
Well, bold. Yeah.
Okay, bold. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like this idea of like, what I don't like is people that stick in a job and complain,
and not changing shit.
And not change it. So either like put up with it because actually it's a stable. Got responsibility. Let's say you've got responsibility. It's not easy to change necessarily. Let's say you've got responsibilities. You've got you've made the decision, and that this is what you need to do. Well, okay. Well, make that decision consciously. Don't drift into it, but make the decision, and then you'll feel happier about it. And then don't complain about it. Or if you are going to feel like you're going to keep on complaining about it, well, then just leave and find something else, or find a route to something else, which lets you balance the things that are important to you. But I don't necessarily criticize people for sticking in stuff, because sometimes other options are hard to find. What I do criticize people for is not doing that consciously, and just kind of
go ahead.
drifting, inertia, and just kind of not being very happy, but not taking a decision or a series of decisions to kind of put themselves in control of what they are feeling and doing. So I really believe in agency. Kind of, it's up to you to do what you want to do. And there's no kind of right or wrong. If you want to do it, well, then do it. And if you don't want to do it, well, then don't do it. But every decision that you make has consequences. So be aware of the consequences when you make the decision, not only on you, but on other people too. So try and think through the consequences of your decisions. But, don't not take decisions. I think this is a really powerful point.
Because, that seems pretty logical. Like you explained it perfectly. Mm-hmm. But did you have this kind of experience, like in a negative way, that you're like, okay, I made a decision unconsciously, and I was like, fuck.
Yeah. Well, I think I tend to regret, so I'm quite decisive. I tend to regret when I don't take a decision quickly enough. I think for me, I should have recognized earlier. So, marital breakdown, right? No one who gets married expects to get divorced. Otherwise, you wouldn't get married. Mm-hmm. So I'm not an exception to that. I didn't expect to get divorced either. And
just like to like, we don't have to talk about it. Like,
it's
if
fine.
it's too uncommon for you, uncomfortable. Blah, blah,
I don't look too uncomfortable.
Okay, no, yeah, okay. So go ahead.
If I didn't want to talk about it, I wouldn't. Don't worry, it's fine.
Yeah, you're right, though.
So I think that. So my former wife said she fell out of love with me. So I still loved her, and I fought a long time to try to kind of make it work. And I realized after a while there was nothing I could do to change that. And then that's when we really decided to go our separate ways. But that was a very long time to get to that point. And I think looking back on it, it would have been better to have got there quicker. Although I guess I'm glad that I feel like I did all I could, and so I've got kind of closure on that bit. So yeah, I mean, I think, and Brazil was a tricky time for that reason, but also like work-wise, it was a bit kind of. It was kind of 2015 was quite a boring year at work, and it was also the year when things weren't going well personally, and which those things are often connected. And so I took a flight to Brasilia from Rio. I lived in Rio. Took a flight to Brasilia. And I went to speak to a mentor. This is something I really recommend, by the way, is like having people in your life that are really going to give you really, really good advice, that know you well and that give you good advice.
Okay.
And you can't get enough of these people. Anyway, so I flew to Brasilia and I talked to one of my mentors there, and we kind of talked it through. And then I decided at that point to stay rather than to leave early because the Olympic Games were coming up in 2016. Okay. Are things really that bad? I can't suck it up and find something kind of interesting and different to do and wait for the game. Because frankly, how many chances in your life do you get to be a part of the games?
That's right, though.
Yeah. So, but actually, after that conversation, although I had not decided to leave, I went to Brasilia thinking I'm going to leave Brazil early, and I came back from Brasilia thinking, no, actually, I'm going to stay, and I'm happy about that, and I'm pretty positive about things right now. And my day-to-day hadn't particularly changed, but the way that I thought about my day-to-day had changed. Again, that sounds really like trite. Do you know what trite means?
No, actually
trite means obvious.
Oh, obvious, okay.
It's an obvious point. But I think a lot of stuff that you think is obvious, I used to think is obvious, until you've lived it, maybe it's not so obvious. Or you don't really understand until you've lived it. I know I used to be more critical of people until I realized that, well, actually, shit happens, and you should be empathetic with people
and not judging.
Yeah, exactly. It's taken me a long time to learn that. You don't feel very judgmental, which is great. It's a great place to start.
It is actually, yeah. But tell me about your mentor in general, because you're recommending it to everybody. Was it just a guy from work, or who was that?
For me, so I have a mix, right? Some people who are my friends, but who give me really sound advice. Lots of them have been through work because it's quite a different context, right? So our lives are a little bit different from lots of people's because we move around a lot, but we're not traveling. So you live somewhere, and then you live somewhere else, and then you might come back, then you live somewhere, and that generates a lot of pressures on your personal life sometimes. It's exciting. I love it. But it has its downsides too. And so I think someone that hasn't had that experience can give me very wise advice, but I really want someone that's been through similar things to me, who can help me out with those kind of questions. And when it comes to professional stuff, well, I mean, it's quite a different job from lots of other ones. So it's good to find someone in like a related, something related.
You're not going to ask a gardener, for example, regarding a job?
Probably not. I could ask him for life advice. He'd probably be very wise.
Sure, yeah. Okay.
Because I mean, let's face it. So I was on a bus yesterday, right? So day before yesterday, I was in Sheila, the second city of Guatemala.
Okay.
Yeah. And I wanted to go up the mountain. There's that highest point in Central America. It's just there. It's called Tajumulco. It's a volcano, and you can go up it. So I found a guy who someone in my hotel knew. And then we took a series of buses, the chicken buses that kind of convert to school buses, to get to the start of the mountain. And we went up, and then we came down, and then we came back. So it's basically a shitload of hours in buses, and some walking.
Sounds dope.
Yeah, and in one of the minibuses, like on the way back, it was absolutely rammed. I mean, you couldn't have fitted. Literally, there wasn't any space to fit anyone else in. So the minibus was full with everybody, obviously. Yeah. Then you had people in the middle, standing up, like packed. Then you had like cushions behind the driver's partition. So the front seat's here, and you got the front row, and then between the front row and the front seat, they had some cushions. So I was sitting there, like facing backwards, if you see what I mean, just behind the passenger seat, like this, basically. And then in the door well, the bit where you step to get out of the door, it's a sliding door, there were 4 people. Like 4 people stood up in the door well.
Fuck.
So,
okay.
So one guy was here, he had one leg here, I had my knee basically in his nuts the whole time. So I was thinking, like, I mean, like, I'd rather this way around than the other. I was like, every time the bus braked, it slowed down. I was like, shit, hold on. I was like, bang, jamming him in the nuts with my knee every time. And eventually, and it was very funny because neither of us said anything. It was just like wordless. It's like, man, we both know that neither of us wants this. I don't want to be kneeing you in the nuts. You don't want to have my knee in your nuts. But, hey, we're in it. That's it. We're in it for 2 hours. And it was very good. And anyway, so I'm telling the story because 2 women got on the bus quite late on. Mm-hmm. They were then the 3rd and the 4th people in the stairwell. So the guy who was kneeing in the nuts stood up and let one of them sit down, had a baby, stood up and let one of the girls sit down with the baby. And then it turned out her sister was standing opposite. So I was basically had my head in the sister's chest, the baby like here. And I was kind of eye level with, the other woman. I was like, right, where do I look? So I spent some time like playing with the baby, trying to get it to smile. It didn't smile. It was kind of disastrous, but it didn't cry at least.
Yeah.
And anyway, and then I just kind of vaguely joined into a conversation and then left it again. But these 2 women were talking loud, as if there were no one else there. They were just talking between themselves. There was no one else on the bus. And they were talking about guys. And they were talking about, I know some guy hadn't even said hi to one of them when she passed him on the street and how rude this was. And I was like, yeah, but he's not worth it. And da-da-da-da. And, but have you heard about this guy's going out with such a girl? And she's La Maria from no sé quién, all this stuff. And as they're having this conversation, I was like, this is amazing. These are 2 women in middle of nowhere, Guatemala, in this ridiculous transport situation, like with my head like bouncing between their breasts, like by mistake. And they're having the same conversation that 2 girls in London would have. Yeah. And I really loved that. And one of them was giving quite good advice to the other one. The woman who was not playing it very cool with the guy, she was kind of getting a telling off. And I liked it, the kind of universality of lots of different issues. And this is a very long answer to your gardener.
Yeah, it is, man. But doesn't matter. Go,
your
fuck
gardener
that.
But
no rules. Come on.
I don't know. Like I find that often people with arguably that's tricky. I was about to say simpler lives. That's not what I mean. I meant more traditional lives, less modern lives. I think can sometimes say very simple, very powerful things, which are true. And sometimes it takes somebody of perhaps a more humble background to tell you this stuff, which is just as relevant to you with all your modern, to me, with all your kind of modern this, that, and the other, and job and house and blah, blah, blah. And no kind of pressure, no real pressure. Sometimes it takes someone who does feel pressure, as in to eat, to survive, to whatever, to tell you what really matters. Again, that's a very obvious thing to say, but it does strike me.
It is, but still, man, I guess, especially like when you're maintaining that modern life, when you're like in your bubble, more or less, whatever.
Yeah, good.
You're forgetting these things sometimes. I guess you're just forgetting, and sometimes
right.
you have to get reminded.
I think you're right. Yeah, you do, and I think it's amazing how quickly you get used to stuff. You just get used to everything really quickly. It's obviously a very good human trait, but it does mean that when lessons that you think you've learnt, if you move away from that scenario or that context in which you learnt them, you can easily slip back into ways that you actually don't want to be anymore. Kind of, yeah. I think it's important.
Okay, who was the last person? What was the last thing that you learned? In general, that you realized that was fucking valuable for yourself?
Oh, well, okay. Well, I mean,
for you, I guess.
That's
right?
fine. No, for yourself, that's fine. Yeah. So the big one for me was maybe I had a really big one about 3 months ago.
Okay,
really big, biggest in ages actually. And do you know the word epiphany?
Epiphany.
An epiphany.
An epiphany.
It means like an epiphany. Wow, there's a religious reference. I don't know.
I've been for real. I'm not joking. I read this word yesterday, the first time in my life.
It's a great word.
It was like, okay, I don't know this word, but to be honest, I didn't even look it up. I was like just reading through it and like whatever. But
Well,
okay.
that's great. Isn't that nice? It's come round. Yeah. So epiphany means a moment of clarity.
Okay, thanks, man.
And it's a biblical reference. Something happened in the Bible.
Okay.
I don't know what it was. There was some sort of enlightenment, I guess,
Okay.
something like that. So I had a long weekend. I didn't have the kids, and I didn't know what to do with my long weekend. I was in Madrid, and so I decided to go for a walk. So I packed a tent and in a rucksack, obviously, and I did like half an hour research on the internet, and I found that you can there's a Camino de Madrid which joins up with the Camino de Santiago, which is the way of St. James, which goes across the Pyrenees and ends up in Santiago. It's really a super religious pilgrimage thing. And I realized that you could join it from Madrid. So I left my house, or my flat rather, in Madrid with my tent, and just walked north for 3 days.
Okay.
And I camped on the way, and it was great. And I realized that I was nervous before I did this because I was going to be on my own for 3 days, and that felt quite scary to me. And I realized halfway through that I was happy and enjoying it. And then I finally realized that you can be alone without being lonely, which again sounds really obvious. But for me, it was not, and had never been the case before. Like when I was alone, I always felt lonely.
And especially taking account the whole thing.
Yeah,
with
but
your
even
wife
before
and,
then, even before then, since I was a kid. So that was a very powerful realization for me personally. I know other people will be like, oh, whatever, I like being on my own. Well, I never have. So realizing that I could be on my own and actually enjoy myself was a real revelation. It was a big thing I learned. But that's something I learned about me. It's not something I learned about kind of humankind.
No, it doesn't matter. The question was open anyway. So what did you learn in general?
That's what came to mind. What's the last thing you learned?
Good question, though. Okay. I've been in Flores. Beautiful city. Fuck. Like, not the city actually. The island. The island. Yeah. The island is cool. But many other things.
Okay.
I've been in a hostel, like in a really cheap one, 40 quetzal. And it's like, oh, this hostel was dope. And I've been lying on my bed in the night because I couldn't sleep, or whatever. And I've been watching
the bed bugs and the music and the people snoring.
Man, I not people snoring, but yeah. And I've been watching a video from Nick Vujicic. Do you know this guy?
No.
This guy without limbs. That is a motivational speaker. Like,
I didn't.
Wow, inspirational guy. Because he made it. Like, he is still satisfied with his life, even though he has no fucking limbs.
Yeah.
And he has a wife. He has children. Like,
wow.
And if you don't have limbs, like...
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess she did most of the work.
I guess so, yeah. Shout out to Nick Vujicic. This guy, I was actually watching a TED Talk. It was like 40 minutes, whatever. Overcoming hopelessness was the title.
Great title.
I didn't feel hopeless, to be honest, but I was just interested in it. And I remember that I watched it like 2 years ago, but I forgot, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I've been watching it, and he was like saying things about how words can actually kill somebody, like especially when you're a child and you get mocked, you get teased and so on. And you get teased in school.
Yeah.
Children can be cruel and da-da-da.
Yeah.
And he was telling it that it's just his sentence actually activated something in me. Like, to be honest, I'm really self-confident. I love my life. I'm really satisfied. Everything is cool. And especially like taking into account when I quit my job and everybody was like, oh, nice, so dope. And you want to do this and this, so cool. And that even pushed my self-esteem.
Yeah.
So everything was always dope. But when this guy said just this phrase, words can kill, I was like, thinking about myself. And the last 2 weeks, I've been alone all the time. I just had like 2 really, really long, delightful conversations with 2 people, like amazing. But I wasn't completely isolated, but I wanted to be on my own, just chill, enjoy my loneliness, whatever.
Yeah, good.
And then I was thinking about myself and realized, fuck, I'm satisfied and everything is cool, But why do these phrases or sentences of this or this or this guy are coming up into my mind? Like, I have this that randomly, so in a irregular time, some phrases are coming up into my mind. Like, just a sentence that, whatever, I heard it in the second grade of what, like, things that I really don't give a fuck about. Like, I've been mocked, but like not much. I've been like, at a 5th and 6th grade, I've been fat and I've been the best one in the class. So like, the fat geek, you know? And I was like, you know, I don't care. I really don't care. But I realized words can kill. I thought that I closed this chapter and then I've been on my own. And then like suddenly this one sentence just came up again and was like, huh. The thing that I normally did the last couple of years when this sentence came up, I was like realizing that it's here. And then I just got distracted and like dealing with something else. And then...
Good comment. Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, this fucking sentence is again in my head. Why actually? And I was like, I never really thought about it like more into detail, like more in depth, like more profoundly. Like I was like, okay, let's think about it. Like what was that? And I tried more or less to get aware of my feelings back then, what it did actually to me. And like, of course, I cannot conclude to 100% what it actually did, but of course, I've been hurt. And now I closed it more or less.
Yeah,
because I've been like always thinking, okay, everything is cool, you know, I'm a whole one. But then I realized that I'm actually consisting of many holes that I have to accept, not to close. Like, it's okay. Good. Or to close again, whatever. Yeah. Long answer, but...
No, it's a great answer. I think the whole acceptance thing is brilliant. It's really difficult. The difference between acceptance and fatalism I struggle with very much.
Yeah.
And I had a friend in Haiti who was really good at explaining it to me, actually. It kind of really helped me with it. It's the whole kind of idea of... So I mentioned earlier in this conversation that I really believe in agency, and I still do.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are some things outside of your control, but I definitely have a tendency to think that I can control a lot more than I actually can, and particularly when it comes to other people and what other people want, you know, feelings and so on. And, you know, I think and so I always kicked back on acceptance because it felt too much like fatalism, like, oh, you know, it's, oh, whatever, like, inshallah, what will be, will be, like, just take it easy, don't worry about it. It's like, no, fuck that. You know, fuck that. Like, if you want something, go and get it. You know, this is my general attitude to life. But sometimes you can't, particularly when it doesn't depend on you. And so I think sometimes recognizing you have to accept that, that's different from just kind of sitting back and like just not doing anything and waiting for stuff to come to you. Like, there is actually a middle ground, and that is acceptance. You can still be, I think, driven and yet accept what you can't change. Is that ridiculously corny but very true parable or phrase when it's like, I think it's a prayer actually, like, God give me the what is it? God give me the courage to change what I can, the patience to accept what I can't, and the wisdom to tell the difference, or something like that. I can paraphrase.
That is good.
I can't remember what the prayer is, though. But it's a really, really, really good prayer. And I've picked different words from in the prayer. I can't remember the prayer. Not particularly religious. But it is really sound. Like in 3 parts. You know, the courage to change what I can, the patience to accept what I can't, and the wisdom to tell the difference. I love that last bit, and to tell the difference, because that's kind of tricky.
Like accepting in general, like, or the patience to accept something, like
no, the wisdom to choose which, you know, can you change it or can't you change it? If you can change it, then do it and be courageous. If you can't change it, then be patient and accept it.
Yeah, actually, I've been just saying regarding the patience to accept.
Oh yeah, sorry, go on.
Because I wanted to say something, but it's okay.
I'm sorry, Karen,
it's okay.
Sorry.
No, I've been struggling more with accepting people the way they are.
Ooh.
Than situations in general. Okay, that's kind of a paradox right now because, of course,
no,
but
that's
I don't know. Of course, I don't try to judge. I really don't try to judge. I'm working on myself the last couple of months regarding that topic because I was realizing, okay, I'm judging a lot.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
But accepting people the way they are.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I have someone that goes through life saying, like, every time, it's like everyone has something to teach you.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and you just have to kind of get to that point. And I find that very difficult. But sometimes I remember her when she said this to me, and I said, "Oof, yeah."
I'm so glad that you said that because that was my conclusion. That was my fucking conclusion. Oh, nice. Doesn't matter how sometimes there are people fucking you up because the way they are, but be fucking patient, treat them the way you want to treat it.
Yeah, or that might then tell you something about yourself. You might learn something about yourself through that. Like, why am I feeling so like triggered and angry about this? Like, what does that say about me? Like, why does it matter if this person is X, Y, Z? What is that making me feel so negative about?
And I guess this accepting other people the way they are goes along with not judging. And if you're judging somebody, you're just revealing a part of yourself that you didn't heal or that you disowned within yourself.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Still,
it's interesting. So, can we talk about your book yet?
No.
No. This feels a lot like we're straying a lot into values territory.
Yeah,
here,
but I didn't intend to. I really didn't intend. Like,
okay, all right.
But it's okay.
Fine.
Like,
okay.
No,
we can keep it light.
No.
I can tell some more stories.
Maybe I showed over you. Like, actually, there was this one thing. Like, I'm gonna write for 100% more books. Like 5, 10. I don't know. That's something that I have.
Yeah.
Like, I really have this in my, like, I really feel that inwardly that I'm going to do that. I always told that, like, when I was a kid.
Cool.
And when I think back, this makes fucking sense. When, I don't know, when we had, like, German lessons or whatever, and homework was, write a short story about this fucking da-da-da. I didn't like the fact that I have to write about something that somebody told me I have to write about. So,
very good.
actually, I had this topic, okay? I took it into account that I should write about it, but I actually made my whole, like, my story about this. Like writing about, like, it's always been something stupid and something funny, actually. And I've been always the first one was like, can I read my story, please? And, and everybody was laughing and it was cool. Like,
oh, that's
blah,
fun.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But then, like, whatever. And
then you did engineering.
No, but, like, dope time as well. Like, really. Like,
that's good.
I don't want to say education system.
Engineering's fine. Engineering's great. Sorry, kids.
More or less.
All you kids out there, it's good to do. Life skills.
No, like, if you like it, you like it,
Yeah.
But if you don't like it, it's okay. I skipped a lot of school, but doesn't matter. I still made it.
So you're quite creative then?
I am, for 100%.
Cool.
You want to do this podcast? Like, you can be the I mean, there is no interviewer, but whatever.
Conversation's got two parts. Two sides.
Actually, the first thing that I want to do doesn't matter. I've been
literally my
blah,
job.
blah, blah. Come on. I like that, man. For real, like, I'm nice. I'm really curious how many people are gonna listen to this podcast until the very end, because we're like just
we're going a long time. I know, yeah.
But doesn't matter.
We can wrap it up when you want. Okay.
We have time, man.
You can edit it.
I'm not gonna edit it. Like, for real, like, fuck that. Maybe the sound, but I'm not gonna cut something.
Okay.
Good. Because we have fucking water there. I don't know if this is gonna disturb.
Maybe.
Blah, blah, blah. Back to the book.
Fountains. Yeah, book.
I always wanted to write about my father, because my father has been and still is the person that inspires me the most. Because, all the background story,
that's
like
great.
Making something from nothing and everything, like he's still living that, and
fantastic.
Wow, everything cool. And actually, I wanted to do that on my trip. But to admit, I'm not, like, now I'm not mentally with my parents in general. Like, of course, I'm in touch with them pretty often, to be honest, and everything, but I'm in a complete different vibe. I'm not in a vibe to write about my father right now,
Yeah.
And so we decided when
that's fine.
Well, it's okay. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. Sometimes you change plans, It's okay. But that was not easy to accept.
No, I bet it wasn't. Yeah, that's a difficult decision. But I mean, I think good for you. For
it is like that. And I told my father, like, I know that I say that I want to do that, but I'm not able to do that right now. But doesn't matter. When I come back, I gotta be in Serbia or in Bosnia actually for 3 months at my uncle's place, and I want my father to be there like a long time as well.
Great.
So take your time out more or less, and then we're gonna do fucking interviews like with you and your brother or my uncle, and then we're gonna write this book together. And that's it.
A lovely story. That's really beautiful.
Yeah, it's
what
like
a great project that is.
That's
congratulations.
Like, thanks though. This is, but I have plans. Like, this is gonna be the first book, like about my father, and the second part is gonna be about my uncle, because a lot of stuff, ex-Yugoslavia and blah blah. And but I've been arriving here and then everything cool.
This feels a long way from Yugoslavia.
Yeah, more or less.
If I I have only been to Kosovo, so I realize this may be a controversial topic, which we maybe shouldn't talk about.
No, it's okay. No, fair enough, man. No.
Fine. So I've been to Kosovo.
Just by the way, like, I'm not like, fuck Kosovo. Like, it's okay. Everything cool. Still, even though my parents are from Serbia, or my father from Bosnia, my mom from Serbia. I don't give a fuck about these cultural differences, but a lot of people do.
Well, they do. That's why I want to tread carefully, because I don't know very much about it. So in these situations, it's better to be cautious.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway, so I've only been there in the Balkans. That's the only place I've been. But that definitely is not like this. And I imagine the rest of the Balkans are also not like a tropical jungle sitting in rocking chairs next to a swimming pool as the rain starts.
Nope. Like modern people.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what did you want to say?
So, I don't know. About what?
Yeah,
I don't think I did. Kosovo. I only say that it's not like here. Or I imagine that...
okay.
You know, I was empathizing with you to say that I can imagine why it does not feel like writing a book about your Serbian father at this point.
Yeah.
You know, it's a long way away.
Whatever. Like, it's a long way, and everything's still cool.
I mean, this podcast is quite a fun plan in itself.
Okay. I actually never talked about it, I guess, in a podcast. So why not?
This is a meta podcast. We're going to talk about podcasts in a podcast.
In a podcast, yeah. Whoa.
Yeah.
When I quit my job, one day before I quit my job, made a PowerPoint presentations for my parents to make them understand why I'm quitting my job and what I want to. So back to your PowerPoint presentation.
That sounds very Germanic, by the way.
yeah, it is, man. And I wanted.
PowerPoint presentation.
Okay,
it's raining.
Raining a little bit.
Should you stress about this with your equipment or not?
I don't know, man. Maybe.
I mean, it's a light rain right now.
We could put your towel above the laptop.
Yep.
And wait.
Okay.
Hold it.
Yeah. I could interview myself here. Hi. It's me, Johan. What is it? Jovan. Jovan. Ja. Ich heiße Jovan. Ich bin Serbo-Austriaco. I can't even say that. Autrichien. Yeah, fine. Okay.
So
Safety.
Covered the laptop. Podcast. So I did the PowerPoint presentation, and that's something that I'm gonna write in a book about as well. Like, I'm gonna write about that in a book.
Yeah.
Wait, is it on?
You're on.
Yep.
Play.
Because I realized that I grew up in a capitalistic system in a city in Western Europe or Central Europe in Austria, and my parents grew up in a socialistic / communistic system in a village in Bosnia and in Serbia. So there might be some cultural and differences in terms of value and
Absolutely. And how old were you when you moved to Austria? Were you a baby or?
I was born in Austria. I was born in Austria.
So when did your parents? Like, how long before that had your parents moved to Austria?
My father went in 1987, I guess, the first time to Germany to work something, like just for a few months and then come back, and then like for a longer time around Germany, northern Germany, and then from there to Vienna, Salzburg, and then he met my mother. So my father was on off like for 7 years or 6 years before I was born, and my mom for 3, 4, something like this. Okay, still they didn't talk that much German and so blah blah. So
so much admiration
culture
for that. Yeah,
cultural differences, you know. Even though we're family and everything, and it's raining.
It's really rainy now.
Fuck that. Doesn't matter. Like,
okay, let me just put my stuff under the shelter. Hang on.
No,
you're wearing a bloody coat.
Yeah, right. Okay. So I'm just gonna go ahead. Okay, no, it's okay, man. I'm just thinking, like, if it's gonna rain really, really strong, shit. So basically, Matt, I've been doing this PowerPoint presentation, making them aware of cultural differences, even though we're family and everything, because, you know, I grew up in a completely different environment, in a completely different culture, and that's what's shaping you as a human being as well. So I might have different goals in my life as well.
Absolutely.
Blah, blah,
and be more comfortable with change and all the rest of it.
Exactly. I see change, for example, as something positive. My father doesn't. My mother neither. So, It's raining. Okay, doesn't matter. We're gonna make it short, and if we're gonna quit, yeah, that's it. That's the podcast.
So I think So I think that immigrant stories are fascinating.
They are,
or like
in general.
cross-cultural stories. And
It's
really
raining
pissing it
too
down
much,
now.
man.
Yeah. Okay. We gotta cut it off.
Okay, this was the great podcast with Matt from London.
We're in the rain in the jungle.
Brother,
Thank you.
it was nice to meet you, man.
Likewise.
Really. Let's eat a cake.
Let's eat some cake. Yeah. Good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.